Hi there sports fans, welcome back to Blood Bowl. Second season edition, quite zoomed out at the moment. I'll zoom in when we open this box. But it's big, it's quite heavy as well. Loads and loads of sprues. I'm just going to empty the contents actually, so as it's easier, so I can get zoomed in and actually take a look at stuff. So lots and lots of dark green sprues, which we'll take a look at in a minute. So red ones, blue one for our referees, grey one for all our pitch templates, so distance and throw-ins, and our 8-way directional and all that kind of stuff. We've got a rule book, which is one of the first things we're going to look at. Whole bunch of bases, they're all 32mm, which is good. 2 sets of dice, which we'll look at in a second, which is also very good. A pitch and a dugout, and the dugouts are very small. So let's have a quick look at the pitch and dugouts so we can then get zoomed in and have a better look at everything. So, me and my game group have been giddy all day waiting for these to arrive. Shout out to Mike, Pinpoint Painter on Instagram. That poor guy's been waiting all day and his copy didn't arrive, which is a shame. So good luck, Mike, hope you get it tomorrow. Right, we'll have a look at this pitch first. So I know there's not going to be quite enough space. You'll get the general gist of it. Okay, look at that. Excellent stuff there. Really, really cool. Very early edition Blood Bowl look to that. For those of you who play the pitch special stuff, sorry, the pitch special rules. I've got a trapdoor there. One on that side as well. On the other side of the pitch, have like this astrogranite side. Again, more trapdoors and that kind of stuff. But yeah, very, very cool. I love it. Very nice. Right, let's get zoomed in. We'll take a look at the rest. Okay. So, our dugouts are much, much smaller. So let's have a comparison with the old dugouts. So that obviously is our new dugouts. Surprised they didn't go for a Black Hawk side and a human side. They've just gone for the same dugouts for either side. But let's compare it size-wise to the to the last edition, and I'll be honest with you, this is ridiculous. So obviously we've got on here, we've got our substitutes there, our injured guys here and our dead guys here, and we've got less than half the space we had previously. This side I'm not worried about. Injuries and deaths, I don't think there's enough space in here to cover everything, especially if you get particularly punished in a game. But, you know, size-wise, it's less than half as wide. It's nowhere near as long either. So we've got, if I remember, this is our score at the top. On the old style, we had 2 different tracks for each half. Obviously, we just got one now, which makes sense to me. You know, you're not going to track the same half twice. You know, you don't need 2 separate parts for it. And obviously, we've got our re-rolls down the bottom there. And obviously a smaller space there. So I wonder if we look at one of our teams, we've obviously got the markers and that kind of thing to go with them. So let's clip out a couple of markers and see how they fit size wise on here. There's a coin marker, and yeah, it's way bigger than the square we've got. Actually not massively bigger, but it is a bit bigger. And then we've got these style ones that are like the ones that stand up, and they fit very nicely, to be fair. Although that feels wonky and like it's going to fall over. Okay, but anyway, that's cool. So yeah, they look really cool, really nice. Yeah, just worry about the size a little bit. Right, okay, next up, let's have a look. Let's get the easy stuff out of the way. Come back to the models last. Just notice that. So the back of our sort of protective cardboard between the sprue and the books and all that sort of thing, it's got a lot of our teams on here. Halfling, Dwarf, Goblin, Snotling, Dark Elf, Imperial Nobility, Necromantic, Lizard Men, Shambling Undead, Skaven, Ogre, Chaos Chosen, Human, Black Orc, Orc, Nurgle, Elven Union and Wood Elf. So all of these are now out and available. I believe, I'm almost certain they are. Yep. Would have been nice to see at least the next team added into this. If there is a next team, who knows? There must, what am I talking about? There must be a next team. Right, let's take a look at the dice that we get. So, I'm sure that in the near future, there will be a Human Nobility and a Black Orc team box comes out. That is like these ones. Here's the Necromantic Horror one. And I'm sure that they will have their own dice to go with them. Because the thing to note on these, and they are very cool, is that normally we would expect on the D6s to have the team's logo or some sort of team logo on the 6. But obviously with these ones in this box, we just get the Blood Bowl logo. So I'm sure that these guys will have their own independent dice coming out, which will have their actual logo on it, but they're cool. So let's test them out. Let's try a 2 dice block for the Black Orcs. Oh, rubbish. I don't like these dice. So we've got a death, and we've got a death and a block. Human Nobility, let's try those. Let's roll on injury. Go humans first. It's fine. Black Orcs. Oh, dead. Okay, right, so those are cool. Next up, let's look at this book. Now, this book is massive. It's really, really big. If you compare this to the book in the last edition, this has got to be twice the size at least. I don't know how much art's in here, and I know we've got stuff for all of the teams in here. But this book is a beast. But it is not only just the books. You get 2 of these cheat sheets to help us get through the game. Now, I'm not looking at rules here today. I've tried to keep away from Blood Bowl as much as possible to make it a surprise for myself. Nice embossed Blood Bowl on there. So I don't know any of the rules changes hardly. That will come in a different video, perhaps part of the review. But we get a nice tag. That's cool. Right on our new Tree Man, which if you look at the previous video I put out, you've got my sort of unboxing and assembly of him. Now I have not added on his his mask thing, because I don't like it. He also has a face guard, which I am not a fan of, so I haven't added that as well. I think it looks best just as it is there. Anyway, we're not talking about a tree man right now. Okay, so this book, what I wanted to work out really is how much of this is like an episode of Spike, because the Spike magazine concentrates on individual teams as they come out, but obviously there'll be no Spike magazine for these two teams because since they're in this box. So there's that. I was wondering how many images were going to be in here, whether it's sort of bloated out just with artwork and that kind of stuff. So what have we got? History of Blood Bowl, which is 1 page. Worldwide Sports Wide World. So this is a lot of, yeah, this brings in some of the kind of lore and the world of Blood Bowl. I'm really liking the artwork in here. It's very different to the Blood Bowl stuff that we've had previously. And it is very, you know, this stuff, this is straight out of Spike, the way this is laid out. So this is cool. Rules and regulation, we've got 14 pages of that. The rules of Blood Bowl, 30 pages of that. Post-game sequence, which is good. I like that, a couple of pages. Skills and traits. Obviously, we're going to get that. Inducements in details, that's good. So that's something I'm not really fully up to date with on the last edition, so I'm glad that they're going into a bit more depth in that. League and exhibition play. My game group will be starting a league as soon as we can when we're out of lockdown. And then going through all of the teams and that kind of thing, which we'll get to in a minute because I'm very interested to see that sort of stuff. But it's just having a sort of flick through. Taking us through how to use our templates, going through all our different dice. So this is really, goes into a lot of depth here, but it seems to be laid out pretty well as well. Things that you would expect to go together rules-wise seem to be together, whereas that wasn't particularly the case with the last edition. Okay. This is cool. Got a draft list, which is weird. Right, okay, so there's going to be a slight whinge here. So big fans of Blood Bowl will know that last year we had the head coach's handbook, which came out, which is very cool. I loved it when it came out. It's a nice, handy, small form factor version of the rules. But part of that was that we got these nice sort of roster sheets. You could tear out, there's an old roster sheet from my Shambling Undead team, the Coffin Dodgers. So this is very cool. However, because they've got a new part of our stats in here, PA, which I think is for passing, it doesn't have it on here. I suppose you could just get a ruler and just add an extra line in there and move your skills up a bit. But yeah, I thought that since that was such a kind of new publication, I thought it was a shame that you should be sort of almost chucked in the rubbish before we even had a year of it. I say have a year of it. We're in lockdown after that. Anyway, stop complaining, Mike. Okay, so all this looks very, very cool. I love it. Obviously, because this is going to be the rule book for everyone now, so we're going to see all the different images of star players, and these are the cheerleaders. All of that stuff's available from Forge World. But very, very cool. Yeah. Very nice. Movements. If you like Spike magazine, you're going to love this new rule book. Okay, right, so let's get through to the teams. So this is actually really cool. So it gives little tables showing exactly what happens when you're pushed and what happens in a chain push. So as if there's no, you know, are you pushing through another player? So that's very, very cool. I wonder if it's got a similar thing for blocking. Let's have a look. Okay, so again, this is very cool. So it looks at the tackle zones and gives some pretty clear indications of what they are. So what is considered to be in your tackle zone is here. And when you're up against another player, it gives a view of what is considered to be in your tackle zone as well. So I like that. Right, okay. Foul actions, that's nice. Right, here we go. Look at that magnificent beast. Post-game sequence. Okay, so now we're looking at skills and traits. And again, I don't know what ones of these have changed. I have to have a real good read through it before my next game. And I know that some of the wording in the last edition left a little bit to be desired, or left a little bit to the imagination as to how it actually worked. But it all does look quite good. And in fact, looking at the amount of text they've got, it does tell me that they've gone into a lot more depth than they did in the last edition, which is always good. Inducements in detail. That's another often overlooked part of the game. Okay, so now we'll get to the teams. Where's the teams? Lizardmen, like it. Okay, the teams. So regional special rules, it's got here. It's got team tiers. So let's have a look at this. Right, so each team's got its own page. So we start with the Black Orc. It's a tier 2 team. So it gives us some really good information here. So obviously there's no cards that come with this box set in other teams that come out. So for example, in the Necromantic Horror team, which I'll be reviewing in the next day or two, it's got its individual card pack. You know, everyone who's played the last edition of Blood Bowl will know that as well. Every team that came out had its own card pack. There's nothing in this box for these teams, but I'm sure they'll be on their way at some point. But this gives us a nice little chart showing us what all of these different team members do, what their stats are. So for example, it will show us how many of them we can play on the pitch, what their names are, how much they cost, their movement, strength, agility, passing ability, and armor value, what all their individual skills and traits are, how much their rerolls are, special rules. So again, it's got Badlands Brawl, so that goes back to this page here. What tier they're in an apothecary. So that's interesting. So Black Orcs, tier 2. Chaos Chosen, tier 2. The last game of Blood Bowl I got the crap kicked out of me with the Undead team, the Shambling Undead team by the Chaos Chosen team. Still licking my wounds from that one. Chaos Renegade team, tier 2. Dark Elf, tier 1. Dwarf, tier 1. Elven Union Tier 2. Goblin Tier 3. Halfling Tier 3. Should be Tier 4. Human Tier 1. I'm a little surprised at that. Imperial Nobility Tier 2. Lizardmen Tier 1. Loving the Lizardmen. Necromantic Horror Tier 2. I'm looking forward to getting into these guys. I'm looking forward to doing the unboxing and review, really. I want to get them built so I can have a look at what they're like. Nurgle Tier 2. Ogre Tier 3. Old World Alliance Tier 1. And Orc, Standard Orc Tier 1. Shambling Undead Tier 1. A little surprised at that. Well, actually, no, they're quite a tough team. That's what I've played mostly with. I'm surprised it's Tier 1 because I always seem to lose. Skaven Tier 1. Snotlings Tier 3. Damn right. Underworld Denzians Tier 2. Wood Elf 1. And then we've got a list of all of our star players. So all of these models you can see on here, these are all available, or they should all be available from Forge World. Again, it gives us all of the details of these star players. Deeproot Strong Branch, 280,000. Eldril Sidewinder, 230,000. Movement of 8, agility 2 up. Wow. Look at that, movement of 8 and an agility of 2 up. And an armor value of 8 up. No wonder he's worth so much. So some of you will also notice that not all of the star players from the previous edition are in here. So some have been killed off, it would appear. So my favourite star player from the last edition is just a kit basher did for Ramtuts for Shambling Undead. So he's gone. He's long dead. Zolcath the Zote. I didn't get the Zote actually. A bit too expensive for my blood. But it is an awesome model, to be fair. Okay, and very cool. So we get a nice index as well, which is much needed. Right, so there is the rule book. It's a beast. How many pages? No, not too massive. 136 pages. Right. Here's all of it. I'm not going to clip this out. I've already got a couple of these actually from the last edition and from the head coach's handbook. But yeah, very cool. So you can clip these out. I don't glue mine, just so as it can store them a bit easier. But yeah, they're very nice. Right, okay. So let's have a look at all of our sprues. We clipped out a couple of bits from the Black Hawks. So something very, very important is missing from the box. I don't seem to have any assembly instructions, which is going to make it quite difficult to put things together. That's a problem. All right, so not sure what to do about that. Let's see if I can just, these don't look too difficult to put together. I'm sure I can just assemble these from looking at them. These are the referees. Okay, so here's our referees. That is a very cool model. Loving the hair. That giant quill. Oh, he hasn't glued to the base properly yet. You get the gist, that big massive rulebook on his back. Very cool. So yeah, I've got no assembly instructions for the rest. I could do the ogre, but we've all seen ogres before. Yeah, I could have a guess, but I know that I'd be totally getting it wrong. Let's have a look at the coins and marker for the nobility team. Right, here we go. That is probably the best marker I've seen of all the Blood Bowl teams. That is very awesome. And the coin as well. So I have got, let's look at the Orc ones as well. So I have got a video going out in the next week or so, how to build your own Blood Bowl sort of mini stadium. Very nice. So yeah, I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna have to call it there, I think. I have no assembly instructions, so I'm gonna have to get in touch with Games Workshop and get them to email it to me or something. That's really very annoying. So I might do a separate video just of the assembly of the rest of the models. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments and I'll certainly do it once I get some instructions to be able to assemble with. But yeah, that's brought us to a close rather abruptly. So it's a shame. That's a real shame. So I'll be back again the next day or so with some necromantic horror stuff. If you want to see my unboxing of this guy, you can go back and look at that. I'll also be reviewing all the special play cards, the new ones that are coming out as well. I haven't received my copy of those yet, but I hope to get them tomorrow. So that review will be coming out in the next day or two. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm sorry I couldn't make more models for you, but perhaps we'll come back and do that another time. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll catch you later.